It seems like when it comes to reverse dieting after a fat loss phase, you have two camps. One that says you have to reverse diet when you're done, and the other says reverse dieting is pointless and you're better off just going back to maintenance. The truth is, it depends on a lot of things such as your future goals, how your cutting phase went, and what's most important to you. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what happens to your metabolism from dieting, the pros and cons to reverse dieting versus a faster approach, and help you decide what's best for you. So what you may not understand is whenever you go through a dieting phase, your metabolism is going to slow down. There's really no way around this. There's ways you can help minimize it a bit through some different strategies like refeeds and diet breaks and taking a slower pace. But no matter what, you're going to see some of these slowdowns. You're going to see alterations in things like your hormones like leptin and ghrelin and testosterone and just about every hormone there is. Your metabolic rate is going to slow down. And because of this, your maintenance calories is now going to be lower than it should be. So the point of reverse dieting is to help undo the suppression of your metabolism by gradually increasing the calories, allowing your body to keep up with this so you can help minimize fat gain while getting your maintenance calories back up where they should be. Now understand, some of the decrease you see from your maintenance calories is just through fat loss alone. When you lose weight, you're now carrying around less mass and therefore have less energy demand and therefore burn less calories. But there's also plenty of evidence you see greater slowdowns in metabolism beyond what would be expected just through weight loss alone. So with reverse dieting, with the gradual approach, you can help minimize that fat gain afterwards to get your maintenance calories higher again. But many people will argue that you should just go right back to your maintenance calories. And I'm not saying that you should or shouldn't, you just need to know there's pros and cons to either approach, and I'll touch more on those in a little bit. But you have to understand your maintenance calories is not a static thing. It's a moving target and it changes depending on what you do. So what I can promise you is if you go through a dieting phase and then go right back to what your maintenance calories were before your dieting phase, that is no longer going to be your maintenance calories, and you're going to be in a calorie surplus, and could be a large calorie surplus depending on how much you've lost and how aggressive you were. What's more is if you finished your cut but you were stuck, or you hit a plateau, can't see progress anymore, and you're just maintaining your weight, well then those calories are your maintenance calories, because the very definition of maintenance calories is the amount of calories you maintain your weight with. How can you just go right back to maintenance calories if you're already at maintenance calories? So that's why a more gradual approach in a case like that can make more sense, especially if you're looking to minimize weight gain after the diet. It's a much different story if, say, you decided to stop your cutting phase, but you were still losing well, say you were losing a pound a week. Well, now it's much more reasonable to say, okay, I could probably increase my calories, maybe around 500 calories, and that will be around my rough maintenance calories, and I can just go right back to that. But even then, your metabolism is still going to be suppressed based on your own kind of genetic potential, and reverse dieting from there can still help you get where it should be and again minimize the weight gain. But none of these things are things you have to do. You just have to weigh what's most important to you and determine what your goals are, because everyone's different. There's a big difference between someone who is just looking to roughly maintain their weight and live an active, healthy lifestyle versus someone who is trying to go into a specific muscle building phase and trying to gain and go into a little bit of a surplus. Everyone's got different goals, so that's why you can't just put everyone into a box and say everyone should do this or that. It's about the pros and cons, and that's what I want to touch on next. Whether you're going through a reverse diet right up front, or maybe a bigger jump in the beginning and then reverse dieting, or just going and bringing your calories up really quickly, you have to understand the trade-off. The slower you increase your calories, the less likely you are to gain extra body fat back, but the longer it's going to take to get all the benefits, like being able to enjoy more food and flexibility in your diet, to start feeling better and have more energy and get your hormones and your metabolism to recover and start performing better in the gym and all the great things that come with it. But on the flip side, the faster you bring your calories back up, yes, you'll start getting all those benefits faster, but you're going to be much more likely to gain additional body fat. So I can't tell you what's most important to you. I will say this, I hear the majority of time with my clients, which if you're interested in online coaching, there's a link in the description. And if you're going through a reverse, I can walk you through that process. But what most people will say is, can we please take it slow? I really don't want to gain weight back. But It's easy to say that, but it's much more difficult to execute that, especially if you're not aware what happens when you're done dieting. This is when your body's going to be fighting you the most. The diet after the diet is almost always the hardest part. This takes so many people by surprise, so I want you to be aware. You're below your body fat set point. Your hunger hormones are all messed up. You're going to be really hungry. Even when you do eat, you're never going to feel full. There's a good chance you're going to be more tired and more cranky and just feel low energy. And then you also don't have that motivation of seeing progress anymore either. You're taking that away, and now the goal literally becomes to eat more food. It can make it feel so much harder to stick to the plan when you're not going to see progress. Humans are motivated by progress, but it's very important that you understand this is normal for this phase. You got to get through that and allow your body to recover, and then things will get better. But if you keep binging and just saying screw it because you're unmotivated, this is when you can undo your progress so fast, because remember, your metabolism is now slow. So if you overeat significantly, you're going to gain weight quickly, and I don't want this to happen for you. So I'm not saying you can't take a slower approach, and actually for some people there's going to be a great benefit to that, especially if you're feeling okay. I don't want you to feel like everyone always feels that way. It's just common. But if you're doing great and you take a slower approach right off the bat, what you can do is, even though you're increasing your calories, you're still technically keeping yourself in a deficit, and you still lose a little bit of weight while you increase calories. This can create a little bit of wiggle room, so to speak. So when you do start gaining, it kind of brings you right back to where you were to begin with, and that can be a great benefit, but only if you can stick with it. If you're trying to take it slower but you keep overeating because you feel too restricted, it's not the right answer for you, and you're going to want to give yourself higher calorie targets, something that's more realistic, rather than trying to white knuckle it and just constantly overeating and getting nowhere. What you don't want to do though is keep your calories low because you're terrified of gaining weight after the diet. This is going to destroy you. I mean, there's just no way that you can live the rest of your life on these low calories, feeling like crap all the time, always hungry, miserable, feel like you can't do anything and have any fun. Like, there's just no way you're going to sustain that. Any approach is fine, but don't stay stuck on low calories and kill yourself. It's just not worth it. I've seen it destroy so many people, and the almost kind of ironic part about it too is because it's so unsustainable, you end up gaining way more weight than you would have through an actual reverse diet, because you just say, I can't do this anymore, it's not worth it, and then just go crazy and undo all your hard work. So don't let that happen. Be okay with a small amount of weight gain. Understand the difference between gaining it all back versus gaining a little back to be able to feel better and get those benefits. Now, all that being said, you're probably wondering, well, if I do want a reverse diet, how fast do I increase my calories? You didn't even help me with that at all. Well, that's because this video is already long enough. I have an entire video that covers all the different situations and how to determine what type of approach you should take and how fast to increase your calories based on that. So make sure you check out that video up top next. Otherwise, I think you'll like this bottom video instead, and I'll see you in one of those other videos.